What's up, YouTube people? So, just back from the gym, just back from food shopping. So I just wanted to show you guys like my grocery haul video, just because I want to show you how affordable it is in terms of kind of my weekly budget for food, what my weekly budget gets me, how varied it is, how much variety is included, and why I've bought certain foods. So as you guys may know, I'm giving a keto diet a go. I'm trying to keep my carbs kind of non-existent, proteins and fats quite high. So I am able to be a bit more adventurous with what protein sources I have, but it does also mean that I have to be a lot more creative with my kind of how I'm bulking up my meals, because just protein alone isn't going to get me throughout the day. I've got a big appetite, so I'm kind of bulking it out with a lot of veg, but then I need to make sure that veg is low carb. So I'm going to take you through what I've got. Little pro tip when you go shopping, when you're packing your stuff away, something that I do which helps me is I have kind of a produce and dairy bag, I'll have a meat bag, and then I'll kind of have like a random bag, which is kind of when the other two are full, got a random one to put all the remaining crap in. So let me take you through what I've got. So I'll take you through this one. So we've got some mushrooms, super low carb, but the great thing about mushrooms is they take on flavour really well. So it just means that you're able to put them in your food and they'll kind of absorb what's in your dish, what kind of flavours and spices you've got in there. Also got some pak choi. You'll know that in a lot of kind of Asian cooking, Korean, Japanese, Chinese, you have this in there. Now it's got an awesome taste and an awesome texture. It's got a nice crunchy texture to it, so just add something a little bit different into your meals. Now, this is for the missus. Just the macros on this are pretty sweet actually. It's a beetroot and mint dip. A quarter of the pack has 1.5 grams of fat, 3.2 grams of carbs, 2.5 grams of protein. So as like a little snacky item, it's pretty good. I know she's planning on having this with just like some sliced carrot. So just like you do with celery. She's not a fan of celery, so she's just going to be using carrots instead. So that, guys, is a good alternative for like a healthier snack rather than picking on like chocolate and sweet and savoury bits. You can jump on that. It's going to be much better for you and it still tastes really awesome. We also have spring onions, so something a little bit different. I like to, when I cook, have a variety of tastes, but then also a variety of textures as well. Spring onions are great going in raw. You don't have to cook them, so it just means you get a nice crunch and a nice fresh taste in your food. We also have avocado, so the staple to any kind of keto higher fat diet. You've got your avocados in there. Really good source of healthy fats. We've got quite a few of these, and we've got 3 of these. So I tend to kind of go for, if I've got loads of fresh veg in there, I'll go for kind of half an avocado. If I've got nothing but the protein in the avocado, I'll tend to go for a whole avocado instead. And then we have some fat-free natural yogurt. Not really for me, it's more for the missus. For her breakfast, she'll have this with fruit, small bit of oats as well on the days that she is having carbs. So we've got those there. Little tip as well, guys, this is the Asda own brand. So this is the store brand. There's loads of brands out there, Outpro, Onken, there's loads of ones. But when you look at it, or Faye is a popular one, per kilo, so I mean it was £1 for 500 grams. Now what we saw with the Faye one, it was £4.50 for a kilo, whereas these are 2 500 gram ones. So a kilo is costing us £2, whereas the Faye one is £4.50. So cost effectiveness, you're getting more for your money with this one. Now there's certain things I'd stay away from that are store brand, but 90% of the stuff is absolutely fine to have. Fat-free natural yogurt is the exact same whether you're getting a branded or an unbranded. So little money saving tip, if you can, go for the store branded stuff for kind of your fat-free yogurts, because you're going to save a lot of money. More mushrooms. And then we got some beetroot. Again, that's not for myself. I'm not a fan of beetroot. It's more for the missus. But in terms of kind of a low fat food source, beetroots are really good. So I know she eats a lot of those. Now, cucumbers, they're like 70% water, guys. So there's nothing in them. There's no calories. I mean, don't say there's no calories. There are calories in it, and they're very low carb, very low fat, very low sugar as well. So I use them as a way to kind of bulk out my meals. Rather than chopping them super thin, what I do is I cut them into big chunks. So it just packs out the meal a bit more. Mentally, it kind of, I feel like I'm eating more food. So it's a great food to eat if you are trying to kind of bulk out your meals with lower calorie alternatives. And then for like myself, who's looking to keep the carbs low, cucumber's awesome for that as well. So we've got 3 of those, because myself and the missus. Now another one, guys, is leeks. Now leeks are awesome because they're a very robust vegetable, which basically means when you cook them, they kind of lose the bitterness in their taste, but they maintain their texture. So they're a nice crunchy vegetable. Like I said, I like textures in my food, but then the great thing about them is they lose the bitterness in their taste, but they maintain their texture, which is really, really good. And they're great because they absorb a lot of flavour as well. So if you cook them with things like, you know, bacon, or you cook them with things like chicken and beef, they absorb the flavour. So really, really awesome veg to use. And then we have baby spinach. Now spinach is awesome because it's like calorie free almost. It's super low carb, super low fat. And for me, when I'm doing kind of a keto type diet, and for the missus, she's not doing keto or anything, she's kind of just doing low calorie, low carb diet. The great thing about spinach is both of us eat a lot of salad based meals. So the great thing about spinach is versus lettuce, it is a little bit more expensive, but with spinach, it's a lot more micronutrient dense. There's a lot more vitamins, minerals and iron in the spinach than in the lettuce. There's pretty much nothing in lettuce. So when you're making salads, try and opt for spinach, just because you're going to get a lot more nutrients from it than you are iceberg lettuce. We also have some frozen peppers. Again, super low carb, super low calorie. I like to cook with these. Now this is something that I will always buy frozen, because there is nothing wrong with frozen peppers. You can get fresh peppers, but there is nothing wrong with frozen. They're not going to go off as quick. They still taste exactly the same, and they're a hell of a lot cheaper than the fresh ones. And you usually get more for your money in terms of kind of the weight of it. So I mean, this bag itself weighs 600 grams. I think it cost me £1, whereas the natural ones you probably get less weight, and it's going to cost you more because it's a fresh item. So frozen peppers, awesome. Now, because I am on keto, something's very happy, I'm having cheese. So you will notice I went for the lower fat varieties. Now, just because I'm trying a keto type diet, what I don't want to do, cheese and dairy products especially can be high in saturated fat, so I will go for a lower fat alternative, just because I still don't want my fats ridiculously high. Even when you're on a keto diet, you don't want them ridiculously high. There is a safe level to have those fats. So I just want to make sure that I'm not kind of wasting my fat on cheese and dairy alone. Obviously, I want to leave most of them for the meat sources I have. But again, just adds a bit more flavour to it. And because I am kind of being a bit more generous with fats, kind of a bit of a treat for myself. And again, always look out for these labels here. 2 for £3, 2 for £1.50, buy one get one frees, lifesavers, keep an eye out for them, you're going to save more money in the long run. So, it's my cheese, more beetroot. Now, heaven in a bowl. If you're like me and you love the taste of coconut, this stuff is awesome. Macro content, not sure if you can see that. You've got 0.9 grams of fat, this is per 100 ml, you've got 20 calories, 0.9 grams of fat, 2.7 grams of carbs and 1.9 grams of sugar. So the great thing about this stuff is, if you're making teas, coffees and stuff like that, you don't need to put sweetener in there, you don't need to put sugar in there, because this gives it a nice fresh taste. So if you are a fan of coconut, this stuff is brilliant. Alpro is the same company that makes all the almond milks. We do buy almond milk, but I just prefer the taste of this. And macro wise, it's 10 times better than standard milk. Even skimmed milk, per 100 ml, you're still going to get about 9 to 10 grams of carbs. A lot of that is still sugar. So keep that in mind, because if you are trying to keep those carbs low, this can be a much better alternative, and it tastes damn good. Protein shakes especially. So that's that bag empty. And we are on to the meat. So we have unsmoked bacon medallions. Now, like I said, I'm not being stupid. I'm not going to buy a load of really, really heavy fat crap, even though I am trying a keto diet. The reason I get medallions and not whole rashers is because the medallion is the center portion of the bacon. Which basically just means it's the center portion. It's where most of the protein is. Still fat in there, but most of the fat is in the tail of the rasher, which is the bulk of the white. You've still got the white strips on the medallions, but it does reduce the fat content significantly. Also reduces some of the salt as well, because a lot of the salt is found in the rind of the fat, which is on the tail. So again, I mean, macro content, I mean, for 100 grams, you're still getting 38 grams of protein, which is really, really good. Pork is definitely an overlooked source of protein. A lot of people think pork is extremely fatty. It is a fattier cut of meat, but it's still got a very good amount of protein, and you can get very lean cuts of pork, like pork loin steak and things like that. Obviously, it's got a different taste, a different texture to chicken, so it can be a good alternative if you're sticking to white meat, or like myself, you're able to have a bit more fat. Just means, obviously, who doesn't like bacon? So then this is mainly for the missus. Turkey breast steak. It's a lot leaner than chicken. It tastes on its own a lot better than chicken. Takes on flavour a lot more. Chicken breast is almost impossible to penetrate with flavour. If you're cooking it, even if you're kind of stewing it, to actually get the flavour through the chicken is quite hard, because turkey thighs and things like that will take on flavour a lot more. It's a much more absorbent part of the chicken, whereas chicken breasts, it's very hard to get flavour into the middle of the chicken. Turkey breast, much more absorbent in terms of flavour, so a really, really nice one if you do cook with spices. Then again, for the missus, king prawns, lean, source of protein, tastes awesome, so they're good in stir fries, they're good in like wraps and sandwiches as well. And then steak. So again, slightly fattier cut of meat, but packed full of natural creatine, super, super tasty and extremely high in protein as well. I don't need to tell you about the benefits of steak because everyone knows them. Again, another staple you'll see in everyone's kind of grocery haul videos, bodybuilding videos is ground beef. You get like 7 different varieties of fat content. Usually the higher the fat content, the cheaper the beef. The lower the fat content, the more expensive that beef is going to be, because it's going to be taken from a leaner cut of the cow. Naturally is more expensive. This is less than 12% fat, so it'll probably be around 10% fat, which is okay, because I am kind of allocating a bit more. I'm allocating most of my fat reserves for the protein sources, as opposed to kind of the dairy and everything. Now, something I'm very happy about is I can have lamb in my diet. Lamb is an extremely tasty cut of meat. It is quite fatty, but again, it's very high in protein as well. So the great thing about going for me, trying out a keto diet is something I will never sacrifice is flavour in my food. Lamb is super, super flavorful, so if I can have it, if I can allocate it within my macros, I'm gonna do that. Because the one thing I would say, guys, even if you are eating healthy, never sacrifice flavor, because you're gonna hate your diet, and every time something naughty comes your way, because it's flavorful, you're always gonna have it, because you're gonna be craving flavor. Never sacrifice flavor, but always make sure what you're eating does fit within your goals and your macros as well. So, chicken quarters. Great thing about chicken quarters is if I wasn't on a keto diet, I wouldn't be having these. I'd only be having chicken breast because it's the leanest cut of meat. Chicken quarters, chicken legs, drumsticks, thighs, they're a much fattier cut of meat. Still super high in protein, but they are fattier than the breast. But they are a cheaper cut of meat. The breast is the most expensive cut of chicken you can get. However, the legs, the quarters, the wings, everything like that, they are fattier, still high in protein, but they're much cheaper. So now where I'm on a keto diet, I am kind of looking where I can save money and where I don't need to have super, super lean chicken breast. I can have the legs and the quarters, and it's cutting down my shopping bill, which is always helpful. So we've got 2 packs of those. And then we just got some more ground beef as well, guys. These are just slightly higher fat percentage ground beef, but they're on offer and they're pretty cheap. So, last bag. This is the random bag, so there's kind of random stuff in this one. So, we've got some chives, guys. Like I said, never, ever, 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 ever sacrifice flavour in your food. So, chives, awesome with fish, awesome with Red meat and awesome with, especially with eggs. Now, if you're having egg whites, they suck. They taste like crap. They taste like nothing. So you need to put stuff in them, but you don't want to chuck it full of rubbish if you are kind of keeping your calories low or your carbs low, or whatever it is. Chives are like non-existent in terms of their macro content, but in terms of the flavour they bring, they're awesome. Put them in right at the end of your cooking. Don't cook chives because they develop a bitter taste. With chives, hit them in raw right at the end. The heat will semi-heat them and reduce a bit of the kind of edgy taste they have, but they taste so fresh and they're amazing, especially with eggs. So try that next time you're doing scrambled eggs or an omelette. Sprinkle some chives onto your fish or your eggs. It'll take the flavour to a whole new level. Speaking of eggs, don't need to tell you about eggs. Eggs are eggs. Everyone eats eggs. Eggs are eggs are eggs. And then we have, you want to take that out of the bag. Cool, and then we have cottage cheese. Again, it's a Smart Price store-bought, sorry, distracted now. Smart Price is the brand, it's the cheapest brand we have. Now there are kind of branded cottage cheeses which are double, triple, sometimes 4 times the price of the store brand. Guys, cottage cheese is cottage cheese. Do compare the macro content because it can fluctuate, but in terms of the actual macro content, for this, I mean, a quarter of the pot, you're looking at 0.5 grams of fat, 3.4 grams of carbs, and 6.9 grams of protein. And then in total, you're looking at 46 calories. So really, really awesome source of protein. It's great to make kind of creamier sauces with as well. So if you are looking for kind of, a base to your curries and things like that, or something to add into, your protein pancake mix, it works really, really well. It's like it's almost like your milk and dairy alternative. Really, really good. And even on its own, what you can do, what a lot of people do, which I've seen online, which I have tried myself, is some people don't like the taste of cottage cheese, but if you add stuff to it, it really brings the taste down because you can use stuff to overpower it. So what people have been doing is putting protein powder and flavour drops into cottage cheese, and it seems to create almost like a pudding, which I know Lex and Lainey have done before. Really, really awesome. So give that a go, guys. It can just, it can be a quick, macro-friendly sweet tooth. This is just milk, guys. This is a new kind of type of milk we've seen. It's fat-free, but it's got the consistency and the taste of whole milk. Now, a lot of people like whole milk because it is thick, it's creamy, and it has a nice taste to it. Now, this has the exact same consistency of that. However, the macro content for 100 ml is 4.9 grams of carbs, 4.7 grams of protein, 0.4 grams of fat. So in terms of macro breakdown versus whole milk, it is 1,000 times better. And then we have a few unessentials, guys. I mean, something that in terms of like a good snack alternative that the missus has found is seafood sticks. Now it is, I mean, when you say seafood sticks, there is probably a lot of processed shit in here, correct, but in terms of kind of the macro content, if you love seafood and you kind of want a salt craving, or you're craving something savoury, seafood sticks are awesome for that, just because in terms of each seafood stick, there are 16 calories, 0.2 grams of fat, none of that is saturated, under a gram of salt, and almost non-existent sugar at 0.2 grams. In terms of protein, each seafood stick contains basically a gram of protein, 2.8 grams of carbs, 0.2 grams of fat. So if you're watching your fat content and you kind of, you are a snacker, this is a good alternative, which she's found, which is really macro friendly. Finally, guys, last thing, espresso. I tried to stay away from pre-workouts because they are full of a lot of rubbish. Now there are some awesome pre-workouts out there that I've tried, like Run Everything Labs Onward. I wouldn't really call that a pre-workout, but you can use it as a pre-workout. But I tend to find all I need to kind of get me through a workout is just a caffeine boost. So I like to make iced coffees, standard coffees if it's cold. So espresso is the strongest, is the highest caffeine content in terms of coffee available. So just grab some espresso as well. That's pretty much it, guys, in terms of what we got. We've got some random toiletry bits in there as well, which I'm going to show you on camera. But the actual cost for everything here, you might be surprised to know, in terms of the cost of everything here, we spent about £30 on the meat sauces, and then we spent about £20 to £25 on the vegetables. So all in all, it came to about £50, £55. I'll try and work out what that is in dollars and euros for if you're looking from other parts of the world, which for us and our personal budget is what we like to stick to. We like to stick to a personal budget of about £50 a week on food, but we like to keep it healthy. We don't like to go more than £50 a week. We did spend slightly more today because we've got kind of toiletries and bits and bobs like that, but in terms of what we spent on the food, I'll actually check the receipt, but I'm pretty sure it came to just under £55 for all of this here. Now this is going to last us probably the best part of a week. Some of it will last slightly longer than a week, but it just shows you guys that this is all really awesome food. This is really tasty food. We're going to make some awesome meals with this, and it fits within my goal, which is obviously I am trying to lean out. I'm using a keto method, and my missus is trying to lose weight and tone up, and she's just kind of going for the low calorie, low carb, kind of just watching the fats and keeping proteins high. She's just kind of going for that standardized diet method. So none of these meals are going to be bland. None of these meals are going to be boring. They're all going to be super tasty, super nutritious as well, and they're going to fit my goals and they're going to fit my missus's goals as well. And that's what it's all about, guys. When you are buying food, it's got to fit your goals. So I'm going to wrap up this video now. As you can see, guys, it's not super expensive to go shopping and to buy varied, healthy, tasty food. Like I said, it's our personal budget. It's £50 a week. Your budget may vary. You might be able to allocate slightly more on food. You might have to allocate slightly less. What I am planning to do in the future is I've had a lot of friends just graduate from university, so I'm going to chat with all of them and actually get an average spend on weekly food shops that they would have at university, and I'm actually going to set myself the challenge of going out and buying varied, tasty food, nutritious food within my goals, on a student's budget, which is something I'm looking forward to do, because I think it is massively possible. Instead of eating just takeaways, Domino's, and yeah, you use your student meals. I want to show you it can be done on a student budget. But pretty much going to wrap up now, guys. Going to get this away, put this in the fridge, going to grab some food as well. So thank you for taking the time to watch the video. Slightly longer one today, but I hope I've kind of shown you that actually eating healthy means you can have a lot of variety, and it means it's not going to cost you the world as well, guys. So thanks a lot for watching, and talk to you soon.